should let me love you forever, forever. I wanna love you. Will you let me love you forever, forever and a day, 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 day.
Happy Friday! Welcome to TMW Online, the Melanated Way. I am Linda. That is Abby. We are covering all things 90 Day The Last Resort. And we are on Season 3, Episode 2, Last Crown Standing. Hey, Raydella. Overall thoughts, Abby, of this episode?
This is getting so good. So many good, real issues that couples have on the table. I'm really excited to get into it.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. And you know what? I'm actually really enjoying that the therapists are pointing out these issues, and there are a lot of them with all of the couples. No couple is immune. So we start the episode ending the first group therapy, and we're on Sarper. And Sarper is talking to Ziad. And, you know, Ziad and Rebecca in this episode really stood out. And as we go through our recap of it, Abby, I really do want to pay attention because they had a lot of things going on. But Sarper is talking to Ziad about Rebecca. And if you remember from the first episode, Rebecca was telling Sarper to shut up, and she got into a little kerfuffle with Shekinah. So there was a lot going on with Rebecca and the other cast members. So Sarper's like, you know what? A man is supposed to be strong. He's supposed to be respectful. He's supposed to be financially strong, emotionally strong, physically strong, sexually strong, or the woman won't respect him. What were your thoughts on that?
This is the old Sarper. This is the Sarper that we initially met when he first came on with Shekinah. Where's our new, softer Sarper? Where is he disappearing to?
I gotta tell you, I kind of agreed with this statement.
Really?
I did. I kind of agreed with it. I think that a man should be strong in all of those ways, especially when we're talking about emotionally and sexually. I think that, and financially, I think that a man that can tune into his emotions and be able to communicate those emotions, and he's strong in that and not like an immature baby, it's important in a relationship. So I was like,
yes, the way you interpreted, yes, I did not originally interpret it that way.
And then I actually like the fact that he said a man has to be strong sexually, because that means that you're thinking about your partner and not just yourself. So I agreed with him with this comment, but let me know what you guys think, and we'll keep it pushing. So
yes,
he said all of that in response to Rebecca telling him to shut up. And Rebecca took what he said as a bad thing and said, well, shouldn't a partnership be your partner and you against the world? And I also agree with that. I think that both people need to be strong in the relationship, and strong meaning mature in all of those ways. And it should be you and your partner. And I've talked about this for years now. It should be you and your partner against the world, because that's who your safe place is supposed to be. And that's who you're supposed to conquer, you know, all of the outside influences with. So one of the things that starts to stand out is that Sarper and Shekinah have a lack of communication in their relationship. So they both say that they want specific things, but they don't tell each other that. And that is unfortunate. So the takeaway from this first part is that Rebecca thinks that Sarper is a chauvinist, and she doesn't like him at all. And she doesn't like that Ziad and him are starting to connect. They move on to Jenny and Sumit, and Dr. Tyrone asks them, you know, what's going on in your situation. And Jenny says their issues are they're living with his parents, and that's been causing problems. But it's been causing problems your whole relationship. I thought at some point you and the mama started to get along, but now you're under her roof. Yeah, you can't have two cooks in the pot. You cannot. And so her issues are living at the house. She's starting to make it sound like Sumit has a drinking problem. He doesn't listen to her. And by that, she feels disrespected. And he hides things from her. And the example that she gave was that he invested $50,000. She doesn't tell us into what, and he didn't tell her. Let me tell you something. Absolutely not. My husband is absolutely not spending $50,000 and not telling me, and I don't know where that investment is. And he literally said, Abby, that he got a tip from a friend to make some money. That's what you invested 50,000 in. Oh, but wait, if we remember, rewind, 10 years, and Sumit came in scamming.
Yeah, Sumit's been a liar. He's been very consistently a liar, but he calls it just a delay of sharing information. But he's been a liar. My question was, where did he get $50,000 from? Because they moved in with their parents, his parents, because they didn't have any money. And did she mean dollars? We're talking about rupees or dollars?
I mean, I don't know, but I was like, 50,000 on what? Why are you living at the mama's house if you have 50,000 to invest? Sumit says that Jenny has anger issues and gives the example how they got in a fight at the mall and Jenny tried to punch him. And Jenny's take on that was that she was just joking. And I want you guys to know that any form of aggressive physical behavior is never funny. It's never funny. I don't care if in your mind you think you were being funny. If that person took it as a threat, it was a threat. That is my personal opinion about it. What's your take?
I mean, same. Jenny's in that age group for Americans. I don't know, like across cultures, what happens, but she's in that age group of what we call boomers who are very physically violent. And the older they get, the more violent they get. I don't feel like she was joking when she faked like she was going to hit him. Just looking at her behavior in their interactions now, the way she's so comfortable pushing him around and pulling things out of his hand, I don't put it past that she probably is hitting him.
There you go. So the therapist, Dr. Tyrone, says, looks like trust and communication and anger issues are the biggest things that are happening between the two of them. And then Sumit says, but what's good about us fighting all the time is that we have great makeup sex. And Jenny agrees and says, the sex is good because he's young. And, who was getting on my nerves? Patrick. Patrick always had like a nasty thing to say about all the couples. And he's like, oh, I don't want to hear about their sex life. Well, listen, sex is natural and it doesn't matter how old you are. It's natural and it should be talked about because you're putting in so many stereotypes. And guess what, Patrick, when you get to that age, what are you going to do when you want to continue to have sex and people don't want to hear about it because they're being ageist, just like you're being ageist right now? Terrible. Thought it was terrible.
Yeah.
The sex doctor said, sex is important. Women love sex as well. And it's important to them, but good sex is important to them. And she's not wrong. She's not wrong. She's not wrong. We move on to Rebecca and Ziad. What were your thoughts on Rebecca and Ziad's this first part?
So one of the main questions I had for the first episode and this episode is, what is Ziad doing during the day? Like, it doesn't sound like he's employed. It doesn't sound like he has any particular hobbies or interests that he explores. And I'm concerned because that can lead to depression.
Didn't he take his HVAC certification? Isn't that what he does as for a career?
I remember that from a long time ago, but he's talking about she's gone all the time and he's alone all the time. So what is he doing during the day? Why is he alone?
I took it like he probably works like a 8-hour day, and he said that she works 12 to 16-hour days. So maybe it's the other, 4 to 8 hours in the day that they're not together.
Okay, that makes more sense.
Yeah, because not everyone's workday is 16 hours. That's a lot of hours in a day
Yeah.
to to be gone to work. So they've been together for 7 years. And this is Rebecca explaining what she thinks the issues are in their relationship. First 3 years, she said, were amazing. They were best friends. The last 3 years have not been good. She says that he goes to the gym all the time. He has started dressing differently. Um, and she feels like their relationship has slowly eroded. They don't wake up or go to bed at the same time, and they don't sleep in the same beds often. And he goes out with his friends all the time. Ziad says she works 12 to 16-hour days, so he feels lonely. So he goes to the cafe, and she thinks he's cheating. So she tracks him. Now, what I get from that is like what I said earlier. It looks to me like she works a lot and maybe they don't work the same hours. That's why they're not getting up and going to bed at the same time. And even not sleeping in the same bed. Let's say your partner's work 16 hours and you're just getting home. You don't want to wake them, so you just sleep where you are. Like I can see all the different types of scenarios in that type of dynamic. So I see how the less time you spend with your partner, the more you can drift away, right? Because you need quality time. That's what keeps you guys together. So if there's no quality time being had and then there's fighting on top of that and then there's a lack of trust because she also tracks him. So when she doesn't know where he is, she's tracking him. And I have a lot of thoughts about that because she's coming from a PI perspective. So she thinks red flags are going to the gym, not being able to get into his phone, and also putting a tracker on him. All of those things I think are toxic. I think that if your partner wants to spend some of the extra time while you're at work, going to the gym and bettering themselves, then that's a positive for everyone. It's positive for people's mental health. It's positive for your relationship because when someone feels better about themselves, they can feel better in the relationship. I'm not a fan of if I feel like I need to go through your phone, there's already a problem in a relationship. I'm not a fan of that. If I need something, there's a picture or something like that, but I don't want someone to say, "Hey, give me your phone so that I can go through all the things that you've been doing." That means you don't trust me, or that means you don't trust your partner. And
Mm-hmm.
then the tracking thing, absolutely not. I'm not a toddler. You put air tags in your children's clothing and knapsacks and all of that, not your adult partner. What are your thoughts, Abby?
I mean, same. I think if you've got to the point that you're about to put a tracker on your partner, that you should just go ahead and break up.
Hmm.
I mean, if you have some strong suspicion and you're not feeling good, you need to break up because either they are cheating or your self-esteem and confidence has got so low that you feel like you need to subject yourself to that.
Hmm.
So
Agreed.
just go ahead and leave and just move on.
Agreed. So Rebecca gives the example of them having a fight. She says that he had a fit. He packed a bag and left for the entire day. She had a tracker on him. Looks like he was 400 miles away in a hotel in Virginia. And he said he was just mad. He started driving and he wasn't focusing on going anywhere. It turns out he ends up in Virginia and he slept in his car. In the morning, he turned around and came back. What do you think of that story and do you believe it?
I don't believe it. I'm having a hard time believing that he would drive that far and then just sleep in the car. It just doesn't make sense to me. I'm not from his culture. Maybe it makes sense to him. It does not make sense to me.
Hmm. What do you guys think, live chat? And if you're watching the replay, is that something that would make sense to you or not? Curious. Um, Shekinah chimes in, and here's what's so interesting to me. Shekinah chimes in to this whole situation, Rebecca and Ziad, and tells Rebecca that she needs to soften her tone, and maybe she'll be heard. And Rebecca didn't like that at all. Now I'm going to fast forward a little bit because I want you guys to remember that that's what Shekinah said in this segment. This comes up again with the therapist and their one-on-one. Okay. So keep that in the back of your mind. Um, a fun Canadian fact. Sarper's like, oh, be careful. Next time Ziad's going to drive all the way to Canada. And then Rebecca got all heated about that. And Tyus was like, "What's wrong with Canada?" And I was like, "Yeah, what's wrong with Canada? Don't you be talking crazy about us Canadians."
In the
So,
behind the scenes, somebody asked if she understood what was happening in that segment. And Thais said, to be honest, I don't understand a lot of things that are happening. I just make faces. I just smile. Ho, 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 ho. I don't know what anybody's talking about.
that's on brand. That's definitely. So overall, the therapist said for Rebecca and Zia that their issue is trust. Woo! We move on to Karen and Guillermo. Lord have mercy. They have
Mhm.
lots going on. Ooh, this hurt my heart, all of it. So they've been apart over a year. And this is Kara's point of view. She was feeling overwhelmed with everything, and she felt like everything was on her, the baby, the logistics, the meals, everything. And she felt like she was drowning and he wasn't helping her. And I got to tell you guys that oftentimes that happens in marriages. It happens when you have that first baby and everything was hunky dory when the man was the center of your attention, the center of your world, and you were doing the meals for that, blah, blah, and you could do this and could do that because there's only the two of you. But then you throw in a baby who needs 24-hour attention, can't fend for themselves, and you have to fend for themselves. Plus, you have that mother child bond. You're going to want to do all the things, but guess what? You're going to want your partner to help you. You're going to want you're going to change a nappy, husband. You're going to do some burping, husband. You're going to warm a bottle, husband. And for you not to have a partner that is supporting you in that, yes, I can understand how she was feeling like she was drowning. What are your thoughts, Abby?
I didn't like the fact that she didn't actually get to finish what she was saying. She got cut off and nobody stepped in and said, "Hey, let's let Cara finish what she was saying," because we got that part which you just recapped, but she was going on to say more of what was happening from her perspective, and I wish that we could hear what that was.
Mm-hmm.
They never come back to it to let us know what else she was about to say. But absolutely, there are so many women who file for divorce and their husbands say there were never any warning signs. They don't know what happened when the whole while the woman was drowning in the logistics and the mental load, and they were doing nothing to help except standing back and saying, "Well, what do you want me to do?" Well, that's not helpful. Get in there, get your hands in there and do what you know needs to be done.
Mm-hmm. Yep. From his perspective, the problem with their relationship was that she likes to go out, she likes to drink, she likes to have girls' night, and then she ends up at men's houses at 4 a.m. And she had to give an example. So the example she gave is way back when she met a guy in 2011. They slept together, it didn't work out. They realized they were better off friends, so they stayed friends. And she got invited to a party at his house. And Guillermo goes on to say that on one of these girls' nights out, one of these party nights out, that she was drinking a lot and she kissed another guy. And she said that absolutely did not happen. And all of the cast members, they were kind of against her. They were like, well, how do you know? Because you were drunk. So how do you know that didn't happen? And she explains that guy, whoever said that, he wasn't even at this party. So I don't know what he's talking about. And then that's when Dr. Troy was like, oh, so the guy that's giving this information, he wasn't even there. And Kara says no. So to me, this sounded more of a trust and jealousy issue on Guillermo's part. He already is mad at her. They're already separated. And now you are saying that she's cheating. And she, in fact, is saying that she never cheated. So Persia, who is like the life coach of the component, wonders what the issue is. And Guillermo says in order to fix the relationship, he wants her to stop drinking and stop going out. And he's mad at her because he doesn't feel that she did that. Now, you guys, when you meet someone, they're who they are. And the part that I don't understand is you met this person, and yes, people evolve and you go through different stages as you get older, and certain things become priorities and certain things are not priorities. But you met her and she's still young, partying and drinking and going on trips. She's still that same person. So now that you're married to her, she needs to stop doing all the things that you guys did together before you were married, because you're gonna have to make that make sense to me, because that doesn't make
Mm-hmm.
sense. If I love to travel before I met you, guess what? I'm still gonna travel when we're together. We can just go together and make memories together. Just because you decided that you wanted to change the person that I am now that we're married, that's not how it works.
Right. It sounds like Guillermo has a little bit of Madonna complex going on. I'm not sure. We need to see more about what's happening. But it seems like since Kara's become a mother, he wants her to possess this kind of purity that she's actually never professed and never seemed to desire. But in order for him to respect her as a mother, he's not respecting all the work that she's putting in as a mother, all the logistical work, but he wants her to not party and have this purity that she never had.
Or never agreed to.
Never had, never agreed to.
That's
And
it.
it doesn't seem like, honestly, it doesn't seem like Guillermo is coming in to this in a place where he could potentially reconcile. He seems to be coming in so angry and so hot about the fact that she accesses every single part of her being. The
Mhm.
fact that she desires to have a career, the fact that she desires to still use her body and show her body off. These things seem to anger him so much that it seems like a really high bar for them to have any kind of reconciliation.
I agree with you 100%. And then to top it off, he allegedly was sending money to other women via a money app, and saying, I can't wait to see you. So, like, the standard that he's trying to put her with his own values and beliefs, he is doing whatever he wants with what he wants to do, which is the complete double standard as far as I'm concerned. So he basically says that she's cheated. Now, they're asked by Persia, the life coach, do you want to work through this? They both had interesting answers, and they answered after they were asked, have you had sex during your separation? Have you had sexual relationships with other people during your separation? Yes and yes. Both of them have. So while the year that they were separated, they both have slept with other people. Do they want to work through this? She says, and this was so telling, you guys. Kara says she loves him, but she's not sure if she's in love with him. And she starts crying. And Guillermo says, she's the mother of my kids. I will never stop feeling love with her.
Hmm.
Do either of them feel like they're still in love? That is not the answer from either of them.
No, it's not. And it would be very difficult to say yes to that question. In my opinion, if I was Kara, after the way that he's been so mean to her, just in the portions that we've seen. So imagine how mean he's been in their co-parenting over the past year.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Hey, Lori. Hey, girl. Hey. So their overall issues with them, it seems conflict and the tension, jealousy, and lack of trust. All the couples felt like that group therapy was a lot, so they dispersed for the evening. They've all decided that they're going to meet up for drinks after and kind of wash off some of this therapy. Now, I do want to point out to you guys that therapy is work. And it's work, especially if you're going to be open and honest. But I don't want you to be deterred from doing the work, because when you get to the other side of it, you're just such a richer, more whole person. And that's the whole point of it. So if it was easy, then we wouldn't need therapy, right? We just like shake it off and keep it pushing. The therapy is going to get to the root of the issue so that you can actually heal and be a fuller, wholer individual. Jenny and Sumit get back to the room, and Jenny acknowledges that she does get frustrated and angry a lot. But what was interesting to me, Abby, is that she is blaming it on the age gap.
That is interesting, but I don't think it's accurate.
That's what she thinks it is. I mean, you guys have known this age gap for 10 plus years. Why would it be an issue now? Patrick and Ty's get back to the room. He wants to make sure that she doesn't hide anything from him. He's mad still that she hid that she got liposuction done while she was in Brazil. She's like, well, you hide things from me all the time. He's like, well, we're not going to do a tit for tat thing. And then literally says to her, don't lie to me again. I was like, oh, so you can address the issues with her that you don't like, but as soon as she addresses the issues that she doesn't like, you're going to go ahead and attack her and tell her not to lie to you again. It's interesting. I think we need to go a little bit deeper and see what else is going on with that couple.
Mm-hmm.
Cara and Guillermo get back to the room. And this is the part that you guys, it's just mind blowing. So he asks, when did she have sex with someone else? Who was it with? And he wants all the details. And he won't give any details. He did the exact same thing. He's like, well, if we want to fix it, we have to be clear with each other. And then she's like, well, we both had sex with different people. So why does it matter if I had sex with someone else a little bit earlier than you did? We have the same result. And I agree with her. You guys both went outside of your marriage while you were separated. Why does it matter who it was and how many times? You both did it. So now what? Do you want to move forward together or do you want to move apart? That's the important part, because why he's asking, this is all about control so that he can be more mad at her. He's already mad at her, but now he's going to do this. He's going to be like, oh, so you had sex with Daniel 2 times. He's going to look up Daniel on social media. He's going to see how long they were friends. Then he's going to accuse her of cheating back in 2011, just like he's doing with the friend that she had sex with one time. He's going to try to use it as a tool to not only manipulate this situation, but also victimize himself, even though he did the exact same thing.
Mm-hmm.
Sarper and Shekinah get back to the room. They don't talk. She goes to bed. She is emotionally drained, she says. And so he decides that he's going to go out with the other couples and have some drinks. And that's what he does. Rebecca gets back to the room with Ziad. And I'm going to just tell you that she's coming across to me as very, very stuck in her ways and angry. And I start tuning her out too. And so when she kind of mentioned at the top of the show about her tone and maybe people will hear you differently, and she didn't want to receive it, instead she was in an attack mode, she gets back to the room and she's yelling at Ziad. Ziad's like, calm down, calm down. And she says that he doesn't deserve to be trusted and she wants to see his phone. And to me, that translated into some insecurity. So here's what I'm seeing, Abby. I'm seeing an older woman who maybe has some insecurities about being older. I'm just going to throw it out there because I kind of know a little bit about her history. I also think that she's having some body issues and insecurities. She's having some insecurities that her husband is now going to the gym. He's lost some weight. He's starting to look better. So she's feeling insecure and she is puking those insecurities out on her husband in a defensive, aggressive, accusatory mode. And he hasn't done anything. And I got to tell you guys, when people do that, you're pushing the person away. And some people even say you're forcing them to have a self-fulfilling prophecy. So the things that they're not doing, if they're already being accused, they're going to go ahead and do it because you're accusing them anyways. So she wants his phone. And again, that to me is screaming insecurity and jealousy, because he's a grown man. Like what is it about the relationship that you don't trust that you feel like you're going to find in the phone? She thinks he's cheating, and she thinks that when she mentions that she thinks he's cheating, that he gaslights her. And I gotta tell you, I haven't seen him gaslight her once in these last 2 episodes, so I'm not sure. Maybe we'll see that come out later in the season. Sarper comes out for a drink. He does one of his jokes, because he actually is really funny, you guys. So he does one of his jokes to the bartender. Are you married? The bartender says no. He's like, don't. It's one of the do as I say and not as I do. Hilarious to me. So the couples all meet at the bar for drinks. Everyone except Shekinah at first and Rebecca. Sumit orders a drink. Jenny side eyes him. Ziad comes down. Rebecca's still in the room at this point. And all of them thought therapy was exhausting. Again, I want to tell you that yes, it's work, but it's a good exhausted. It's you did the work exhausted. Rebecca comes down, and guess what? She's mad and yelling again. She's mad because she said that she waited for Ziad to come back to the room. She didn't know he was going to come down here for drinks. But when you guys all left, that's what you guys all agreed to. So where did you think he was going?
I mean, he did leave the room without telling her that he was leaving. Because when they asked him when he came in, where's Rebecca? He's like, I don't know. Maybe she will follow me. So he didn't but he had just been yelled at for a good couple of minutes. So maybe he just didn't feel like talking to her.
No, he was walking away from being yelled at. You know how exhausting he was yelled at in group therapy, gets back to the room. She's continuing to yell. Yeah, he's like, you know what? I'm going to go have a drink. I get that. Because she doesn't even allow him to talk, which is something that I want to talk about after. So the men go out to start a bonfire. Rebecca's mad again because she feels like he chose to drink with the guys and not continue to be yelled at, or in her words, continue their discussions that they were having after therapy. They're outside, all the guys are outside, and Sarper called Shekinah his punishment in life because of all the bad things that he's done in life. And I know he was joking, and I did laugh, but that is terrible to say about your wife. What do you think? What do you think?
I think that's exactly one of those things that Shekinah is talking about when he says it in his comedy show. He probably means it very lightly, but it offends her when he does things like that. And she just said it during therapy, and then he immediately went out and he does 2 marriage jokes back to back.
Yep. Hey, Becca. Becca says Rebecca wants to fix everyone else but herself.
Yeah.
So, Russ and Paola show up, then Kara shows up, and all the women are inside, all the men are outside. And Kara asks Paola about the dead cow again. And so I'm starting to see a theme, right? So we learned about the dead cow situation as a sexual position in the first episode. And Kara was like, how does this work? And basically, it's just her saying the guy does all the work. He does the whole job. That's a dead cow. And then I learned something new. Americans, you guys call it starfish.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I hadn't heard that before. So
it doesn't typically have a very good connotation, though.
Starfish?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, to Jenny, she loves both of them. She loves the dead cow and she loves the starfish. She said, you know what? I don't see anything wrong with those. She's like, I'm older. These girls are young and probably have a lot of energy. She's like, I like it when I have to do no work. And y'all, I could just picture it because, Jenny is known to just lay up in the bed. So why would that be different?
She enjoys being lazy.
Lazy, up in the bed, just up in the bed. So I am not surprised.
I can't even imagine Cement telling her to get on top. She's so dang slothy.
So Sarper's leading the charge outside at the bonfire. He says this whole thing, feminist, the men need something, and it should be called menaced. And I wanted to laugh, but also we already live in a menaced world, Sarper. The women are inside talking about Sarper, wanting to control everything. They all start talking about him. They're all like, "Oh, it couldn't be me married to him," yada yada yada. And I just thought that was an interesting moment where you guys are outwardly picking the male that identifies with alpha, but one of the things about Sarper, you're going to know exactly what the issues are and how to address it. But can you say the same about your partners?
Mm.
Some of your partners, they got a lot of issues that they won't even admit to.
Mm-hmm.
So it's easy to point the finger this way when maybe you should be pointing the finger this way.
Mm-hmm.
Patrick. Oh, Patrick, you're on brand. Patrick says, men are simple and women want us to be complex, and we're just not. What, Patrick? If you're a simpleton, just say that. Please don't talk for all men. All men are not basic. So I was just like, oh, no. Ziad started talking about his relationship with the men. He's close to being finished with the relationship because Rebecca thinks he's cheating, which is what I just said. If you think I'm cheating, then maybe I'll just leave. But he loves her. He's unhappy, but he loves her. And I gotta tell you guys that a lot of you guys are in relationships like this where you're unhappy, but you are familiar with the unhappiness and you equate it to love. A lot of you guys are in relationships like this because you don't want to be single and you think it sounds better to say you're in a relationship with this person rather than being single. And I just encourage you to think about your overall happiness and what does that look like for you. And also, do you even remember what happy looks like? Because
Mm-hmm.
you're unhappy for so long, it's not until you get out of that situation that you realize how unhappy you were. Do you want to add anything, Abby?
Yeah, there's no prize for saying that you were together 5, 10, 15, 20 years, just suffering to be able to say that. There's no prize for that.
Yep, agreed. The women come out to join the bonfire, and as soon as all the women come out, Sarper leaves. And I thought that was interesting because it was all the couples and Sarper. And I feel like he felt uncomfortable, so he left so that he was not the only person without a partner.
Mm-hmm.
As he leaves, Kara's like, "Oh, it's cute. You and Sarper, Ziad and Sarper are kind of like besties." And Rebecca throws out of her mouth, "There's no accounting for taste." Now, here's the thing, okay? Because I need you guys to remember that. I need you guys to remember what Shekinah said to Rebecca at the top of the show about her tone and how people are hearing it. Ziad tells the group that Sarper, took the time to apologize to him and that he accepted the apology, and Rebecca did not like that. She's like, "Oh, well, he apologized to you, but he really should be apologizing to me." And then that's when Zia said, "Well, I'm the husband." There's a loss of translation there. There's also a cultural issue there, right? So here's how I think what Ziad meant. Ziad meant in his culture, men don't just come up to women and start talking to women, especially married women. It's a sign of disrespect.
Correct.
So if your partner and your partner, your friend and your friend or in some type of disagreement, the man is going to come to the man to apologize to the man. But the man's not only apologizing to the man, he's apologizing to both of you because
Mhm.
it's disrespectful for him to just stand and be talking to this married woman one-on-one. So I understood how he took it. Rebecca took it like, hey, he's being chauvinist. He should come to me and apologize because he offended me. Cultural difference,
Mhm.
language difference. Rebecca gets so mad that he said that she walks off and goes to the room. Party disperses, bonfire disperses, everyone's going back to the room. Karen and Guillermo are back in the room. He's back on the couch even though he slept in the bed the night before. She feels like it's a step back after a day of therapy. She's wondering if that's a good thing or a bad thing. Ziad gets back to the room, says, why did you just leave me? Why didn't you just say, let's go? And she says, you went down there by yourself. You can come back by yourself. And then she starts yelling at Ziad again.
Which is not helpful. Like, do you
And
want to be helpful or do you not want to be helpful? Like,
also, I just think you got to own up to your role in this as well. Because what I'm seeing, there's a lot of anger, and the anger is coming out fast and furious.
mhm. Rebecca seems to be having something that I see a decent amount in couples. You feel like because you brought your immigrant spouse here, that they owe you some kind of gratitude. It's kind of the same thing that you might see that adoptive parents have towards their adoptive child. Like, you owe me some kind of gratitude or thankfulness for adopting you, for bringing you into this family. And whenever you have that kind of feeling, you're setting the relationship up for failure
Yep.
because that person doesn't owe you anything. They don't have to stay with you and they don't owe you anything.
Yep. 100% agree. So the next morning, Jenny, Paola, and Shekinah meet up. They're going to go to the salon to glam up. They have a banquet that evening, and it is high attire. So that's what they're going to go do. Meanwhile, Patrick and Tyus are playing croquet. He says it's not fun. He sexualizes every move that she makes, and he's also just happy to have some one-on-one time with her because he thinks that she's prioritizing herself too much, which goes along with what I've been saying earlier, where once there's a baby involved, right? The woman's priority changes. And also she wants to work on herself. Maybe she wants to get back to the way she was pre-baby. Maybe she wants to have some friends. Maybe she wants to have a hobby. All of those things. She's expanding as a woman, and it's not just about him. And he's not liking it. He's like, you are making yourself the priority too much. Translating to me is like, you're not making it about me. I'm not the
Mhm.
center of your world anymore. We find out that Shekinah and Sharper haven't talked since therapy. And what she makes an interesting comment. She thinks that Russ and Samit are weak as men. And I was surprised by this, but Paola kind of agrees with Shekinah's statement. She wants Russ to be a little bit more manly. And like man up a little bit. She talks about how Russ, when she thinks about leaving him, Russ tells their son that mommy's breaking up the family. And when I tell you, I was livid in that moment because yes, Paola recognizes that this is manipulative. Not only is it manipulative, it really, you guys, children are like sponges. They see and hear and take in everything you say. And you're going to try to manipulate your small child against your wife? It's
Mhm.
absolutely not okay. It's not okay at all.
Yeah, it's called parental alienation when you try to control the feelings that your child has towards their other parent. And it's extremely detrimental to both relationships because it'll erode your relationship with the child and then it'll cause the child to look at the other parent differently as well. So this is a very unhealthy situation that Paola is currently, and it's more detrimental than I initially thought, and even more detrimental than some of what the other couples are going through, because that's triangulation involving her son's feelings.
100%. Now she's looking around at Jenny being on her second marriage, at Shekinah being on her second marriage, and she's concerned that there's no hope, but she's not going to. We move on to the first one-on-one that we see with Dr. Tony. It's Rebecca and Ziad. Ziad, the doctor said, what did you think of the group therapy? Ziad said that he was good with it. He liked hearing the different stories. Rebecca, do you guys want to guess how she felt? Anyone? She was uncomfortable with it, and she's mad. She's mad that Ziad has this new budding friendship with Sarper. She's mad that Ziad is being friends with someone that she clearly does not like. And Ziad says, well, I didn't like the fact that you said to someone, shut up, multiple times. She's like, I only said it 2 times. He's like, no, you said it multiple times. And he said, the reason why I didn't like it is because Sarper, when he was talking about, he said, Sarper was talking about the man side generally. So what Ziad meant by that was when Sarper was talking, he was talking about men in general. He feels that Rebecca made it personal and then therefore went and attacked him and told him to shut up, shut up, shut up. Now, as Ziad's explaining this on the one-on-one, she interrupts him. And he says, can I finish this? She doesn't allow him to finish it. She continues to talk and says that Ziad now hurt her feelings. In that whole moment, I was like, oh, I see exactly what's going on here now. There is some manipulation, and it's not on Ziad's part. There is a I am always right. And just like what Abby said, there's a little bit of, hey, I'm the American. I brought you here. I'm in charge. You should do what I not only say, but what makes me happy, period, full stop. I don't care what you think. I'm the one that got you here. There's of that going on. I saw it at clear as day. Clear as day, because here's the thing. Ziad, in a very calm voice, was sharing with a therapist how he was feeling and how he interpreted things. Instead of letting him get the entire thought out, she was cutting him off and small jabs as he was talking. So she goes on about how she's mad and she's hurt. Dr. Tony he literally says, let's pause. He has Rebecca pause and says, we need to help Ziad get to see your perspective. And you may need to slow down in your arguments and break it up into pieces so that he can understand where you're coming from. Let me tell you something. Bravo, Dr. Tony, because guess what? Everything that Dr. Tony said, Ziad not only understood, he received it, agreed with it. The doctor says, here are the issues. There's an emotional disconnect between the two of them. And it's because of the language barrier is a huge thing, and a cultural barrier, it's a huge thing. Which Rebecca puts Ziad in his place. And so he's constantly trying to explain himself. And Rebecca feels like Ziad doesn't understand. Okay, let's break all of that down. Emotional disconnect. Yes, you're going to be disconnected if someone's yelling at you all the time. You're just going to zone out. You really are. you start to zone out. So once you zone out and you're not connected to your partner, you emotionally disconnect with them. Next, the language barrier. Yes, there's a language barrier, but here's my question, you guys. I don't understand. Why is it always on the immigrant to learn the American language? I don't understand it. Ziad, I understand what Ziad's saying, and he's taken all the time and all the years that he's lived here to learn the language. Do you even know one word of his language, Rebecca? And have you even tried? And why is it on the immigrant to adjust to only your ways? If it's a true partnership, like you said at the top of the show, you remember when you were screaming at Sarper and said this should be a partnership? What part are you playing in this 50-50 partnership when you're bringing no language skills and no effort to learn the language so that you can better communicate with your 50-50 partner? Make that make sense to me.
Mm-hmm.
Then you talk over him as if he's a secondary citizen. That's your husband. You want to be respected because you're saying Sarper's not respecting you. Are you respecting your husband? Doesn't look like it to me because you talk over him every 5 seconds and you're yelling in his face every 5 seconds. And then you don't feel like he's understanding you. Well, are you trying to understand his perspective? Those are my thoughts.
And what's disturbing about it is that she's completely okay with making comments in front of people that she's well aware that her husband doesn't understand.
Mm-hmm.
How is it okay that you exploit this language barrier in order to make jokes at his expense?
Mm-hmm.
How is that in any way a partnership? How is that a way that you build trust and a way that you build camaraderie? How is that best friend behavior?
Yep. Do you want to add anything else?
Nope, let's go.
Okay, so Becca says, I haven't watched this season yet, but are the therapists better this year? Do you want to take that question, Abby?
So I do like the doctor that we're currently talking about. So far, we've heard some really good things from him. I am not feeling great about Dr. Persia.
She's not a doctor. She's the only
life coach Persia. I think she cut off Dr. Tyrone one time, which I didn't like. And then I feel like she chases after mess a little bit more than substance. But we're only in the second episode, so, we'll see how it goes. And we haven't heard from the last person yet.
the sexologist.
Yeah.
Dr. Tony goes on to address Rebecca and say, do you see how an argument almost just happened because of a misunderstanding? Because Rebecca was going to take it from 0 to 100 before Dr. Tony said, let's pause. Now, here's the part that was just full circle for me, was the doctor said to Rebecca about her tone and her aggression and her argumentative behavior. And she recognizes now, or at least hears it from the doctor, that she's perceived as aggressive and argumentative, which, if you go back to what Shekinah said at the top of the show, maybe if you changed your tone, you would be heard.
Mm-hmm.
Spot on. This is, I already jumped ahead a little bit, but after she says this, after the doctor talks to her about her aggressiveness and argumentativeness, Rebecca's like, well, he's not great with with English. And again, my comment to you would be, well, have you learned his language if you think he's not great with it? But Rebecca's takeaway is that she realizes that she may need to be more patient. And the doctor's overall takeaway is that this relationship needs a lot of work. Ziad walks away saying that he likes this therapist. And my comment too is, I do too. I think he's even keeled. I think he gets to the root of it without getting messy, and he doesn't side with anyone. So I think it's great so far. I see you writing some notes. You sure you don't want to throw something in there, Abby?
No, so I was showing you that I had also written down what you said. say at this part where the doctor notes a language barrier, I said I would love for him to no, don't say there's just a language barrier. Say that there's one-sided mental effort put into the language. It's one-sided. Like, don't just say it's a language barrier as if both of them are in the same like place. No, 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 no. Zied is the only one who's making effort in that way. And I would
Mhm.
like for that to be acknowledged.
Good point. Really good point. Um, Jenny returns from her glam sesh and Submit loves her makeup. Now, this is a really subtle thing, but very interesting. So he says that you look really pretty. She left there thinking that the makeup was okay. She's like, oh, it's fine if you guys remember. But when she got home, she's like, well, it's different than how I normally do it. And so it's like, well, sometimes different is good. And then it made me think of how oftentimes we get stuck in our ways and we think our ways are the only way to do things. And when something is different, it's like you're not sure if you like it only because it's not the way you do things. And I think that that's an important little tidbit to remember. And I sometimes can be that way.
Mm-hmm.
I put lip gloss on today. And I also put on a lip liner, which is not what I do, as you guys know. And I was looking at it like, whoa, whoa. But then it's like growing on me. So like just be minded. Change can lead you in a direction that you probably would not have thought of on your own. And you might like it better over there.
Yep.
So now they're all going to be getting ready for this banquet. Banquet is all about etiquette and respect. Kara and Guillermo share a cute moment when she comes up fully dressed and they do this like it's giving moment, which I thought was hopeful. Boy, was I wrong. Paola, she's feeling anxious, and something that I caught with her that I too am just learning about, you guys, that no one teaches. They teach you when you're like pre-pubescent about your period and puberty. No one, it wasn't until I was a grown, like seriously, you guys, maybe not till last year, someone said perimenopausal. I said, Peri who? Peri what? So Paola is feeling hot and she's like, can I be having hot flashes at 38? Yeah, girl, you can. No one teaches us that, but yeah, girl, you can.
Mm-hmm.
I think I heard that perimenopause can start in your 30s.
I don't know how early it could start, but I did think that I was too young when I started, and there was no like general conversation about what to expect. I was just having weird symptoms before my dentist. I think I told you, my dentist is the one who told me I was in perimenopause. So it's a very I hope to demystify it. So you guys, if you find me on Instagram or TikTok, or part of one of the things I talk about is perimenopause. We both talk about very interesting topics on our other social media outside of YouTube. So you should find us and follow us there because we're interesting gals.
We do have a lot going on. Trust. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I think that that's something that we as women should start talking about, because every woman is going to go through it at some point in their life, and like let it not be a shock.
Right.
You know what I mean? Becca says, facts, Abby. They for real just made it out to be like you'll lose your period and then that's it.
It's so weird. Like, I think the weirdest thing that's happened to me so far, and I mean, it happens sometimes while we're here talking, is I'll just start choking on my own spit. It is so bizarre, and nobody warns you about it. So now I'm like, I was thinking, like, am I having a stroke? What is happening here? But no, it is a legitimate symptom that occurs in perimenopause.
Who knew? Who knew, you guys? I didn't, but let's start talking about it so that we can all be prepared when we get there. So the arrivals are starting to the banquet. Patrick and Taya show up first, then Jenny and Submit, then Shekinah and Sarper, Zia and Rebecca, Cara and Guillermo. and there's champagne, there's tiaras. Sarper has a whole moment where he basically wants to let everyone know that him and Shekinah are going to be the hottest couple there. Oh, Becca says smelling phantom smoke gets me because it's also a symptom of a stroke.
Right. So random perimenopause thing, you have to like read up every couple of weeks on the symptoms of stroke in women and symptoms of heart attack in women, or else you'll confuse some of your perimenopause symptoms as those two things.
Oh my goodness, you guys. Oh, okay. Sounds terrific. Okay, so Persia, who's the life coach, she's in charge of this little segment, and she wants to make sure that they all realize that this night is about etiquette. And why etiquette's important is because it's important in relationships. How we listen, how we communicate, how we treat our partner is all part of etiquette. I agree with her 100%. She also goes on to say that oftentimes the ones we care about the most are the ones we are the rudest to. I agree with her 100% on that. Check your tone sometimes, you guys. The people that are there for you, that show up in the good times and the bad times, you know, maybe just check your tone, because we often forget because we're so like, just we feel safe with them, right? And I'm not saying you can't be your most miserable self, but also remember maybe to check in and be like, hey, you know, I love you and thank you for being there for me, and thank you for letting me have verbal diarrhea on you. Thank you for like let this all out. I know that it's a heavy load and I appreciate that you're carrying it with me. Whatever. Just, you know, check in on the ones you love, because the ones you love you and are there for you. One of the things that Persia is recognizing about this group is they all yell and scream at each other and they talk over each other. And what she wants to highlight to them is how your partner desires to be treated, which is important, right? You guys, it's always important to remember how you got in the relationship. You know, oftentimes we use buzzwords like what's their love language and all of that. Well, it's great to know it, but are you continuously practicing it? And are you continuously practicing it as you guys are together longer and longer and longer on this journey of life, right? Like you can practice it in the beginning and then all of a sudden you get married and then you forget about it, or you're 5 years in and you forget about it. No, this is something that you need to continue to prioritize in order to have a healthy, happy, strong relationship. So the first person they go to, so one of the things, one of their exercises was they were supposed to get glammed up for their partners. Paola starts. She's smiling at Russ. She picked up Russ's outfit. She loved it. It turned her on. And the point being here that a little more effort in your appearance makes your partner feel seen, respected, and desired. And I agree with that as well. I think how you showed up in the relationship, obviously your body changes, you get older and all this stuff, but it's about the effort that you put in order to continually attract your partner is important. I'm not saying you let get glammed up for either each other every single day, but maybe on date night, maybe as a surprise for whatever, Valentine's Day or Christmas, you do a little extra sparkle, whatever. It's important to continue to maintain the person that you were. I'm not saying that you're not going to get older, you're not going to add a few pounds, you're not maybe going to cut your hair, whatever, but it's important to take a little effort in your appearance. If you start off, here's the thing, okay? Change your underwear, change your pants, wash your shirts, okay?
Sorry.
Get a haircut, trim up the beard. You know what I mean? I'm not just talking to the women, I'm talking to you men as well. So Rebecca says that Ziad looks amazing. She did want to dig into him first, saying that he has a unique style, but he defends his style. thought that that was telling of their entire relationship.
Mm-hmm.
Sarper and Shekinah, they both have short, direct answers. They both say they look great. Then she breaks down and she's sad. She's like, yeah, they haven't spoken since yesterday, since therapy. She feels stupid being there. She feels like she doesn't belong. And one of the things that affected her was that he wore the same outfit that he wore on the first date, which is a really special experience, right? You're recreating the first time that you went on a date. Sarper acknowledges that he can be vindictive, right? So he purposely is not talking to her. And he can't help that. He says, well, yes, you can.
Yes.
Persia has them hold hands and tell each other that they love each other. So he tells her he loves her and all he wants to do is be happy. And then they just drop hands and they stop looking at each other. Persia noticed that Shekinah's looking down all the time and Sarper's looking straight ahead. What she wants them to do is to keep the connection, and keeping the connection is physical touch, it's eye contact, it's communication. And I noticed they don't do a lot of that. Like, you can say that you look great on the outside as a couple, but if you're not doing the work to actually maintain being a couple, you're not going to be a couple for that long.
Mm-hmm.
So overall, they have a lot of work to do. Then we have Kara. Kara says Guillermo looks good, but talks about how when he compliments her, he also, like Rebecca, ends it or includes a dig. The example she gave was like, he said, "You're smart, but you don't use it." I find, Abby, those type of people are the most detrimental in relationships, because they're trying to act like they're lifting you up, but they're constantly throwing in the digs until you start believing those digs, because bit by bit they're chipping away at your self-esteem and you don't know what's happening because it's all masked under fun and games, until all of a sudden you're feeling insecure, you're feeling jealous, you're feeling sad, all of those things. Well, look back to what your partner has been doing this whole time for years maybe, and now you're wondering why you're feeling a certain type of way. It's this is lethal in my opinion. Someone pretending to compliment you but also degrading you in that same breath. Do you want to add something, Abby?
So what's really bizarre to me, I don't know if you've glanced over at their social media, is that there are so many people who are in support of Guillermo, even though we see that he's being angry and vindictive and manipulative. And I think it speaks to the greater cultural issue that people have against women who want to self-actualize in their marriage.
You're 100% correct. You're 100% correct. I too would also, just to piggyback off of what you're saying, will add into that beautiful women, especially on the 90-day franchise, get the most hate. They are not agreed with. And we're living in a time where, and not to get too political, but like, they're trying to throw women back into some different age that we just haven't been living in. And so for a woman to want to be able to use her body the way she wants to use her body, be able to be sexy and feminine and assertive and a provider and out in the workforce, all of these things, some people are like, oh, you can't do all of those things. There was recently some conference where they were talking about have more babies than you can afford, submit to your husband, like you know, I don't know if you guys are following, like, there's so much going on in the world. Women are literally losing their rights. There are parts of the world where women are not allowed to speak in public. Okay, so I think that's all part of it as well. So Persia has them do a compliment to each other. So Guillermo says, the person I fell in love with was the most beautiful, and that is you. And that wasn't lost in any type of translation. He was purposely choosing his words.
And that is a dig. That
It's,
in and of itself, what he
yep,
said is a dig. He's purposefully using past tense. He's purposefully saying, you here in front of me, worthless.
yep.
And
But the
how do
person
you...
I fell in love with, that person was beautiful.
Mhm.
On the in, okay, beautiful. Yeah, I'll leave it there for now. Yep.
And I don't know how you work with that. Like, if Persia, I think, should have just stopped, because he clearly is not going to say anything good to her in this moment. I don't think it was a good idea for her to push past this, where she just told you he loves to make underhand digs. He just made an underhand dig, and you're going to push for more, Persia?
I think maybe she didn't catch it. Maybe she was on her, I don't know, but I hear your point loud and clear. Because she has them look at each other, hold hands, and give each other a compliment. Kara says, you're a good person. And no, she says, excuse me, she's happy that she found a good person. And then Guillermo says, you're very attentive, friendly, and you're beautiful on the inside. When Persia says to Guillermo, are you proud that she's the mother of your child? He pauses, it's silent, and then he says, no. And then she's like, well, why not? And he's like, I don't want to talk about it. Now, here's the thing. What you're not about to do is you're not about to do all of this, make all of these bold statements, and then not follow up. That's what you're not about to do, not in therapy. You're not about to throw the mother of your child under the bus, saying that you're not proud that that's for a mother, that is the biggest, meanest thing you could ever say. You guys don't have to get along. You guys don't have to like each other. You guys actually don't even have to be civil. You don't even have to be in the same room. You could just co-parent, have public drop-offs, drop it off at the mama's, drop it off at Nana's, whatever, drop it off in front of the police department, wherever you're going to do your drop-offs, that's where you're going to do your drop-offs. And you don't even have to interact. That fool doesn't even have to come into your house. But for you to, again, give a compliment and then give the biggest, meanest, horrible dig that you could ever give to a mother blows my mind. And let me just tell you something. The fact that he said that and he felt he could say that in front of all those people and on national TV is mind-boggling to me, because that mother of your child that you're not proud of, and I dare say you have your own insecurities, you have your own beliefs about who you think she should be as a person, even though you married her and you knew all along who she was as a person. For you to say that about the mother of your child, who is mothering your child, who is supporting your child, who is pouring into your child, who is teaching your child, who is raising your child, right? And you guys have a little boy. Do you think that you're teaching respect? And like I said, children are sponges. Are you teaching your child respect when you don't even have respect for the mother? You don't have to, I'm not saying you have to like her, but to blatantly disrespect her and have digs at her on TV, and even if you weren't in TV, in public, is wild to me, and shame on you.
Yeah, it's horrible.
Persia then says this evening is about respect and etiquette, and I just had to pause because we just watched a whole hour of one specific person being disrespectful. And one of the things is, okay, at dinner. Yeah, it does get called out at dinner, and we'll get there. So dinner, it's funny because Rebecca said that she took etiquette classes growing up. I too took etiquette classes, you guys, for a whole year. It was like a whole thing. But I'm so glad because listen, I got you. But Persia did notice some things that were going on at the table that were maybe not so ethically friendly. So Sumit, he was throwing his fork around, shining it over here in Jenny's face. And when asked, how do you hold a wine glass? I was surprised that they knew you hold it by the stem, you guys, and you're actually supposed to hold it like this. And what, anyways, I won't get into a whole etiquette class. If you guys want that, I can share it with you. And then the rest were a mixed bag of manners. You had Tyus and Sarper eating with their bare hands. I was like, what is going on here? You had Kara chewing and eating with her mouth open. It was a mess, you guys, to be honest. It was a mess. It was a mess. I didn't believe any of them had any type of etiquette at all. But the focus was not about the dining etiquette. It was more about the respect and care and consideration for your partner. And, you know, I peeped the men that pulled out the chairs. Like, if you guys are trying to do the whole traditional thing, then you fully need to commit to it on your end. I saw the people that just sat down by themselves. I saw people get their own drinks going like this instead of waiting for the server, the wait staff. I saw people start eating even before everyone else was, like, y'all are doing the most. So care and consideration extends to your partner as well, and that even extends when you're eating out, you guys. You know, if you're gonna do a date night, do it right. Treat each other as if this was a special night, and do all the things. Go all out. Just do it. And part of that is you know, the proper little etiquettes that are out there. And Kara's still upset, and you could tell, and we were all flabbergasted by what Guillermo said. And you guys let us know in the comments, if you're watching the replay, if you're in the live chat, what you thought of his comments, because they were incredible to me, like incredibly disrespectful. Kara says she wants to feel seen, but she's crying. She feels hurt by what Guillermo said earlier, and right now it's hard for her, so she is crying. She's upset. And Paola jumps in and said, yeah, that was nice to hear. Patrick jumps in and says, you know, that was really harsh of you. You know, how did you get there? And Guillermo starts to elaborate. Persia, this is the first time she jumps in to talk about Guillermo's tone and respect. And he turns to her and says, and this is where I'm like, Abby, I think maybe there might be like a male-female situation going on there, because he turns to her and says, was I being disrespectful? If she is the expert, you are learning from her, and you're literally in a session right now. If she's saying you're being disrespectful, then you're being disrespectful. There's nothing to back at with. Take the note, adjust your behavior, and continue on. I don't need to hear you. That's what I thought. What do you want to add anything?
I mean, among the things that we've already talked about, Guillermo's Venezuelan, but he was living in the Dominican Republic when they met. These are two places that are not known for respecting women. Yep. So perhaps I'm sure you can come out of those cultures and respect women, but perhaps he is one of those people who is unable to do that, unable to respect women in their profession, and unable to respect women outside of the designated roles of mother and wife. Maybe he truly struggles with that, but the thing about those kind of men is they don't go after women who want to be trad wives. They don't go after women who just want to sit down and let you be the head of the household while they bake cookies. They always go after women who are actually really extroverted and expressive, and then they want to cage them.
Mm-hmm. 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 Yep. Guillermo goes on to elaborate. He is mad that she's selling pictures and videos online. And when asked what kind of pictures and videos, she said implied nudity pictures. And he then throws in her face that she said at some point that she would never be naked. And she said, well, we talked about it. I told you what I was going to do, and you were okay with it. And then I did it. And now he's not okay with it. So she also goes on to say that, they separated. She's now a single mom. So she's thinking about, how am I going to make money? And she has this platform. So she said, you know what? She also wants to get back into her music. He doesn't like her music. So another dig at her. And so she said the tatas came out and she started, doing those type of photos. Now, here's the thing. She's a grown-ass woman and it's her body. And dare I say, her choice. She can do whatever the F she wants because it's her body. And I don't care if she's married or single or other. I don't care. She's a grown woman that's making grown decisions for herself. And as courtesy and respect, and consideration, which is what this whole exercise is about, she went to her husband and said, this is what I'm going to do. And he agreed to it. Then all of a sudden, because he thinks that she's cheating or that she kissed some dude, he doesn't want anyone to see her as a sexual woman. So now everything that you said you were okay with, you're not okay with. Because you are mad at her and you want to degrade her, you're saying that you don't respect her and that you're not proud of her for being a mom because she's selling her body. Oh, did I say her body online? Because I also will say this, and you've heard it a lot because it's true. Sex work is work.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And I'm not saying that that's what she's doing, but what I'm saying is there has to be a point where women are allowed to do, and allowed is the wrong word. There has to be a point where women feel like they can do whatever they want with their body and not have to answer to anybody. Because men, y'all do it all the time. That's it. That's my TED Talk. What do you want?
I mean, I just remember that Kara was always a gig person. Kara was always a gig person. We met her. She called herself a Jill of all trades because she had her hand in all these little different pots. She was never an office worker. She was always on the gig side. When I saw her take that bend into making music, I was like, oh, this makes perfect sense for her personality, right?
Mm-hmm.
Her turning to exploiting what people are willing to pay for to make quick money to fund her next gig, her next career, her next thing, that completely makes sense to me. Why not?
Do what you want. Do what you want with your body. Do what you want with your body.
Mm-hmm.
Period and full stop. Don't harm anyone. Don't force yourself on other people. Keep your hands to yourself. But when it comes to you and your body, you do what you want.
Mm-hmm.
That's all I got. That was episode 2, you guys, and it was a great episode. There's so much more we could talk about. Let us know what you guys want to talk about or what you saw, didn't like. Leave it in the comments on the replay. We will be back here shortly. You guys have an amazing weekend. Don't forget to love yourself. Love on yourself and love your peoples.
Absolutely.
All right, now you're gonna say what?
Ta-ta for now. TTFN.
Ta-ta for now. Oh yeah, it's really good.